Rosie, you's a conniving heifer. A conniving heifer, and you doing some evil and ignorant shit. That's the name of the episode. We'll come back and we'll review it right after this. Make sure as you come in to listen to this review of Reasonable Doubt, episode season 3, episode 8, entitled Ignorant Shh. Make sure you all are hitting that like button. Make sure that you are reviewing this playlist of Reasonable Doubt. I have reviewed this television series since its inception. So make sure you go through my playlist and we will go over this. I got my notes. I know I'm behind. I apologize. But you know how life be life, and I'll let y'all know. So listen, we're going to talk about this episode because there was a lot of ignorant stuff going on in this episode. Do you hear me? All right, so I'm going to go in the order as it happened in the episode for this review. And it's a lot of stuff that we're going to go over, and that it is just what it is. All right. So we find out at the beginning of the episode that it was Rosie Edwards who hired a group of white lady thugs to whoop up on Alex, and they done messed around and whoop up on Alex so bad that Alex dead to the bed. So at the last episode, when we saw Alex and his monitors and stuff like that going off, he didn't make it, and he was the person who hired to have him beat up was Rosie. Now I'm telling you right now, conniving. Miss Rosie is very, very conniving. And she's doing whatever she needs to do and however she needs to do to protect this image that she has. And we'll get into more of that as we continue to go on. Child, Sally and Bill are still going strong. Bill offered to look over Sally's divorce papers. And they kind of set the parameters of their relationship. It's just like a Sunday fun day, friends with benefits type situation. That they were going to be very aware of their relationship and what it is for what it is. You got two married people uh cheating on their spouses, even though the relationship with their spouses is not good. It's still what it is, and they're going to approach it with a little humor. Child, it's gonna be a big old recipe for disaster. I'm telling you now. I am telling you now. Uh okay. Jax confronts Daniel about sleeping with Christian and he apologizes. Uh we do know that Sal and Rosie had access to the cabin. Kristen and Ozzy make up. They don't want to be like their parents. Apparently, when Daniel saw Kristen going to talk to the reporter, she was trying to make sure that she killed that deal that he had with Alex. I don't know what she told him or anything like that, but that is talk that was that is now dead in the water. And also, you remember when Kristen was leaving the hospital and she was talking to somebody, she was actually talking to Ozzy, and she was telling him that Alex wouldn't be saying anything about anything. Now, one of the things that I have noticed in regards to this family, and you know that I have always pondered the question about what secrets are they holding, they seem to, and we find out in this particular episode, they treat Ozzy like a child. And I don't have any better way to say that. They treat Ozzy like a child. They treat him like he doesn't have the mental capacities to do anything. And I don't know if they're doing that because they want to keep him in that childlike state and he thrives in that childlike. He doesn't grow. Now he loves this woman. He loved what's her name? Victim. I think her name was Wendy. But he's still okay with being pampered and treated like a child. I hope I'm making sense. He wants to for you to give the impression like he is this man standing on his own 2 feet doing all the things that he needs to do, but he's very okay with his family hiding stuff for him and him reacting to things almost childlike, teenage like. When he doesn't get his way, we find in the episode he was screaming and hollering and everybody was like, okay, stop, 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 okay, wait a minute, hold up, we don't want you to do that. So he clearly is able to get away with a lot of behaviors that a lot of people would not be able to get away with. And I hope I'm making sense. He still continues to think that being in this childlike behavior is okay. Hold on, y'all. I am looking for my list of folk. But let's continue. I'm going to find it. Here it is. All right, so let's continue. We also find in this episode that Eddie has another daughter, Chelsea, and she's played by Lori Harvey. Uh, Apparently, whatever's going on with Chelsea, and I may be interacting saying Lori Harvey and Chelsea, they're Lori Harvey is the actress and Chelsea is her character. So I may just go back in between, and I do apologize until I get Chelsea down in my brain because she's new. But apparently, there's some kind of scam that they trying to run on Jax. They're trying to get some money or something from Jax, which is interesting to me. And that is what Lewis knows about Eddie. So we see when we get introduced to Chelsea, honey. Chelsea is coming out of jail because she done beat one of her clients down to the ground. And she said that she didn't get arrested for that. She said she got arrested because she had some old warrants and things like that for some old tickets that hadn't been paid. And so she asked her father, "Do I need to talk to Jax about this?" And he's like, "No, I got it. Let me handle this." So apparently, when he left Jax and his fam and his when he left Jax and her mom, or when they left him, he went on and had him another family over here with Chelsea, and Chelsea is a hot mess. Do you hear me? A hot mess. uh we get back to the courtroom. The defense forensic experts gave an alternative theory. He said that Wendy had a concussion that swelled her brain and that the gunshot was secondary. So whoever hit the blow was the one that actually caused the death. That's their theory. And that the gunshot wound was secondary. So in other words, I know that the initial coroner's report saying that the gunshot caused her to bleed out. So they just presented an alternative theory. We also see in this episode, Daniel goes to Alex's home. They're trying to figure out what was worth $1.5 million. And then they find the video. They find the video of Wendy seducing some man. They find this video. They get this video to Ozzy. Ozzy doesn't want to look at it, but they're trying to explain to him that if he says he knew about it because that is the information that his mother told him. You remember that night when the mother said, I've got something for you. I want you to see that what Wendy's got going on. She presented that video to Ozzy, and that's why Ozzy wanted her to sign the agreement. So we now find out why Ozzy wanted her to sign that NDA. We find that out. But we also, and I may jump around a little bit here, just to kind of keep it on this. So Jax is telling him, do you realize that you've known about this tape and didn't tell anybody? And now this tape can be used as a motive for you. You should have revealed that, that he said, well, I didn't watch it. And again, that's him acting all childlike. Well, if I don't say anything, it doesn't really exist. And if I don't watch it, then I don't have to deal with it. And everything that he's trying to suppress or hide, it's coming back to him. And Jax is telling them, him the same thing. So they watch the tape. He doesn't know who it is that's in the tape. He knows it's not him. We find subsequently Jax uses this information. She presents all of this stuff in court. Because the mother, Rosie, is the one that told Ozzy about this. She's on the stand, and then she decides to say that the person who is in the tape with Wendy is her husband, Sal.
Bombastic side eye. Criminal offensive side eye. Do you understand?
She said it was Sal. Baby, the look on Sal's face, he didn't know whether to to piss or crap. He just looked like he was just stuck. He didn't know what he was supposed to do. But again, this episode is really showing Rosie's true colors. She is going to do whatever she needs to do to keep her family the way her family exists at this moment. She's willing to do anything. She's already had Alex beat up. She's already presented Ozzy with the tape that his father was smashing Wendy. She already has all of these little different things going on. But we're going to go over what's going on in regards to that tape a little bit later. What's interesting in regards to Rosie, and I do want to point out this, that Rosie, Jax calls Rosie into her office, and she's talking to Jax about Rosie about the stuff, and Rosie comes in acting all innocent, like, yes, I want to do that. Jax told her, cut the crap, because I know that you gave that tape to Ozzy. And you know how fragile he is. And so Rosie just rolled back in her seat like, well, what you want me to say? And then that's when they go to court. And that's when she decides to tell everybody that her husband was sleeping with Wendy. And poor little Ozzy, he is unstable. We got Nisha now Nisha is the assistant to Wendy. She's on this podcast spilling tea about Ozzy. She's saying all these different things, and she says that she's going to come back on her own channel and tell all the business. And so everybody is supposed to stay tuned to all the business. Then we let's try to get Bill and Sally out of the way, because they are a separate story. So Bill and Sally are still together, and they're still making their little friends with benefits dates. And Bill has read the divorce papers, and he tells Sally that Chris wants spousal support and custody. And he says that Chris wants to take the kids and move to South Carolina, citing the loss of the house. Now, they lost the house because Sally decided to put the house up as for bail for her cousin Chantel. And Chantel, she ran, and so they lost the house because that was part of the collateral for that. That she wouldn't run, and she ended up running, and they lost the house. So Sally confronts Chris about this, and he's like, well, because Chris is in this mode of, I've got the upper hand, and I'm going to punish you for losing the house, but I'm not going to give you all of me. I'm going to make you beg to come back to me. But I don't think he understands or knows that at this point that she's having carnal relations with Bill. But he's under this thing because he's been used to having carnal relations with her, making, making her pay, and he felt like he was in control of doing all of that and having all this other stuff. So when she calls him over to come, and he's like, well, don't you want your family back, and don't you want the kids and all this other stuff, and I want to move to South Carolina because again, I can go back home, go back home, and the kids, because we don't have a house here, and you know how expensive it is to try to redo a house. We don't have the money to do all of this stuff. So I'm gonna go back to South Carolina and I'm gonna take the kids. And don't you want the kids and all this other stuff? Baby, she stood flat foot and cussed his butt out. She told him, "You're not gonna get." She says, "Fuck you and fuck that house." She says, "If you want war, then it's war. If it's up, then it's stuck." And so I don't think he was expecting that, and he was upset about that. So we'll continue to be looking in, and I don't have anything else in regards to Bill and Sally, but I will say uh, that Bill did get served his divorce papers. So we'll continue. So we got Mama Lou. She's been through the surgery. She looks good. Lewis confronts Eddie and told him that he needs to tell Jax why he's really here. And I guess Lewis, one thing about Lewis always wants to control what he can't control. It doesn't matter what it is, where it is, or how it is. Lewis is always trying to control what it is and what it is. And he always wants to seem like he has one up on Eddie. And Eddie is a street dude. Eddie don't give a doggone. He like, oh, you think you finna clown me? You want Jax to know? All right, cool. Let's go over here and let's talk to Jax. And he was like, Lewis was like, wait a minute now. He's like, you said you want me to tell her the truth, so I'm gonna tell her the truth. So he goes, he's like, Jax, I got another daughter. he he's like, she a little complicated. She ain't like you. She got a lot of stuff going on. You got some nieces and nephews. And then, Jax is like, Lewis, you knew all of this other stuff. He says, yeah, but it was for him to tell you, not for me to tell you. And it just goes on back and forth. And she was like, well, Mama Lou, Mama Lou, here's the doorbell. They back and forth, back and forth. And who walks in but Ozzy? Child. A mess. Eddie is not going to let Lewis punk him for nothing. You hear me? Nothing. But Louis stays trying. So Ozzy comes over, they have dinner. Eddie kind of talks to him about being sober and all the things you need to do. And it's not a one-stop shop. You need to figure out the things that are important to you, and you stay sober for those things. And Ozzy takes it in. He goes to the bathroom and he passes by Mama Lou's room and he sees the medication. And he goes in there and he pilfers a few of her oxy pills. But after, as he's getting ready to leave, he has a change of heart and he tells Jax, he shows Jax what he's done. And Jax is kind of seeing, he's trying. He's trying. There's just really nobody really in his family that he feels he needs to be accountable to. He feels because him and Jax have similar background, childhood SA abuse, they have a kinship in that. And he feels a level of accountability to her. So even though he is doing those behaviors like an addict, he seems to want to be accountable to her for his behaviors, and she thanks him for them pills. And go on and get them pills back to Mama Lou, because she the one that need them. She done had all that kind of surgery to even tell. Apparently, somewhere down the line, Ozzy and Nisha have a conversation. She tells him that she's going to go live. He tells her, well, if you go live, I'm gonna let everybody know how you be stealing on the sets and selling the clothes selling the clothes, making a profit because you didn't buy those clothes. And she told him that she was going to tell everybody that, he was the casting couch's biggest customer, that he was sleeping with producers and directors to get roles. And that kind of pans out if you look at the essay and the behaviors that were going on. And these are older women that he's doing this to. So it kind of pans out that he would do that. She would think he was doing it because of just trying to get a role and he's just nasty. But that's that type of manipulative behavior that comes with children who have been SA'd, whether it be by a man or whether it be by a woman. That's that type of manipulative behavior that you see. So the Edwards have a family meeting, and baby, they have this family meeting. And Rosie, again, you can tell that she tries very hard. She is quite manipulative in her family. She is punishing Sal because we find out that the video has been doctored. Sal has been having an affair with his assistant, Vanessa, for 9 years, and Rosie is salty about that. So she has taken that film that she found on Sal's phone or a Sal's drawer, somewhere she found it. She took that film to Alex, and Alex was the one that superimposes posed Wendy's face on the body. So it looked like Wendy was seducing Sal when actually that was Vanessa, not Wendy. And so everybody's looking at her like, wait a minute, you would do some stuff like that? Sal is upset because he's like, oh, so you gonna throw me up under the bus like this? You just was up here throwing me up under the bus. And this is the scene where I was telling you that everybody is okay in that family by treating Ozzy like he's a child, because Ozzy was like, y'all need to tell me what's going on, because he saw the exchange between Sal and Rosie, because Rosie was trying to get Sal not to let the children know, Kristen and Ozzy, that the tape was doctored. And she was trying very hard because she was like, this is going to help us get him off. And he's like, well, the tape is doctored. And then Ozzy was like, well, y'all going to tell me what I need to know. If y'all don't tell me what I need to know, I'm going to scream. And I thought he was playing. But that fool sat up there, started screaming and popping himself in the head. And they're like, okay, okay, okay. And then they tell him this stuff. And so he asked Rosie. Everybody started looking at Rosie side eye, looking at all the stuff that she has done. Now, I'm not sure of whether or not the family knew that she took care of Alex like she took care of Alex. But the children are looking at her like, Ma, did you kill Wendy? And then she gets all upset and she goes into that uh uh woe is me, I am the forlorn mother. I've been a good wife, but my husband has been unfaithful, because she had it down to the months, 9 years and 4 months, been unfaithful to me, and now my children are ingrateful for all the stuff I've done. And then she leaves. She says, Sal, let's go. And then they leave. And then later on, she calls Jax, and she, because Ozzy is thinking, he's having all of these flashbacks. Well, he's having all of these flashbacks and these thoughts. And he's like telling, Kristen had a bad dream because they all go back home. And he's like, I don't know. Did I do something to her? Did I hurt her? Did I do something to her? I'm having these flashbacks, because first he had these flashbacks or this dream, and it looked like what's her name? And excuse me. Oh Lord. Monica. First, it was like Monica was the one that had tied him up. And now he's having the dream that it was him. So he's having all these flashbacks. He don't know if it's him or not. Then we get Rosie calling Jax, because again, you have to understand Rosie is quite manipulative. She's calling Jax now because Ozzy and the kids have questioned her of whether or not did she kill Wendy. She's calling Jax, telling Jax, because she recognizes that bond is a little tight. So she's trying to sow seeds of doubt to Jax. She's like, I think Ozzy did it. I'm not sure, uh, but I think Ozzy may have done it. That heifer is quite manipulative, and I don't like that. So then we end the show with this little small little montage of stuff. Uh, you got Chelsea sitting outside of Jax's house like a crazy person, watching the home and stuff like that. Don't you got 3 kids that you need to be looking after? Why is you sitting in front of Jax's house watching them go in and out of the house? And also, you see, Nisha gets online and she says that she did her due diligence, and she said that what Wendy told her was a lie about Ozzy sleeping with the stuff. She says that she regrets what she said online and she apologizes to Ollie. And again, Rosie tells Jax that she thinks that Ozzy killed Wendy. And then, we see Ozzy waking up a wing, and he asked that, that he have possibly killed Wendy. And that's the end of that episode. I will tell you this. This was a great episode in us finding out who Rosie is and all of the stuff that's going on with Rosie. But what she did to Alex. Police! Police! And that man is dead. He was conniving and smarmy and all that other stuff, but he did not deserve that stuff that you just gave to him. And I don't like that. All right, let's get to this thing. We got a couple of things going on. Oh Lord. I done. I'm coming, y'all. I promise. I just gotta add a person to my wall. Because it hit me as I was doing this recap, this review. All right, so let me share my screen. Let me share my screen. Why is it not coming up? Hold on, y'all. I don't understand. I'm having an issue with what is going on. Let's go here first. Let's go here first. Because we are having too many problems. All right, let's do this. I don't know what's going on with Canva. I'm having so many problems with it. But let's get over here with Ozzy. What you hiding? So we still haven't figured out what Jax is crying over. I'm gonna do the slide that I have to answer that. So as we go down, I'm trying to find the places I have them in red that are going to be answered in episode 8. So what did Ozzy's mom tell him about Wendy that made him change his mind about signing the NDA? And we find out that Wendy was cheating and there was a sex tape provided. This is the reason why Ozzy wanted the NDA. But we also find out that the tape was doctored and it wasn't real. So it says here, why are the Edwards keeping secrets? Ozzy's drug problems. We find out that Sal Edwards was having an affair with his assistant Vanessa. Rosie hired Alex to deepfake Wendy's face over the sex tape of Sal and Vanessa, and Rosie was the one that hired the goons to beat up Alex. So we have what was the onset incident that triggered counseling for Ozzy. I'm pulling from what Nisha said. I think it had to do with the fact that Nisha revealed that Ozzy had slept with directors and producers to get his roles, and he doesn't seem to be that old. So that might have been the incidents that probably was happening on set with him being very promiscuous with the staff and stuff like that possibly triggered that counseling that he needed that was on set. And along with probably the essay from Monica. What story was Lincoln Culpepper working on? What does his thumb drive have to do with? Why does he have a thumb drive on it? Alex had contacted Lincoln about the Edwards family. He was going to cash in on that money. He had the thumb drive because Alex gave it to him with the tape of Wendy and the father, which was doctored. It says here, is there another reason that Eddie is in LA, and what is it? It has everything to do with his other child, Chelsea, who is 30 with 3 kids. They're trying to get money from Jax. Who beat up Alex, and did he make it? And no, he did not. And it was Rosie who hired the goons. Who was Kristen talking to on the phone discussing Alex won't be talking for a while? And it was Kristen talking to Ozzy. And this is when he found out that Alex was dead. It says, why is Rosie having doubts about Ozzy? This is the questions that I have. And then the big question, who killed Wendy? Because we got questions, but we have no answers. None. You hear me? None. Let me pull up my slide that I have. Uh, because we're going to go over who it is that we think is on the floor. Because you remember when this series started, the season started, Jax went into a room and she was trying to figure out who was on the ground. And we've been trying to figure out who's been on this ground forever. And so I want to get to what's going on. So let me share my screen. Let me share my screen here. All right, here we go. Who did Jax discover on the floor? Again, it could be Autumn because she had a miscarriage. It could be Mama Lou because of the fact that she had chemo and she may have she may have passed away. We've got Eddie. It could be from a relapse. It could be because Lewis had punched him out. It could be that Chelsea possibly hurt him. It could be Bill because I'm still thinking that there possibly be a murder-suicide type of situation going on between him because he's going to get wound up too tight. It could be Daniel because he possibly could have run afoul of Rosie or Kristen or Sal. And then my last one that I added because of episode 8 is Sally. And because of her interaction with her husband, uh, in regards to him wanting to take the kids and move to South Carolina, and with him playing those games with her, I think it could be a situation that they get into it and he ends up unaliving her, or it could be the other way around. I'm gonna add him at a later time. She could end up unaliving him. We will see. But that's all I got for this episode, y'all. Baby, I thought it was Kristen who killed her. Now we got, and then I thought Alex did it, but Alex done went on to glory. Now you got me thinking that Sal did it. I mean, excuse me, you got Rosie that did it, and then we could have Ozzy who did it. I mean, there is some prime candidates, but I don't know, because I know Rosie has no problem with beating folks up. She's on the top of my list, but I still think that Kristen did it. I still think that Kristen did it. So because they have not introduced any other people. Monica, yeah, but Monica. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It could be Monica. It's just too many list of people, y'all. We do this every week. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video if you care. Y'all, please tell a friend, tell a kin, tell a coworker, tell that heifer that you can't stand that I'm over here making these videos. And as always, people, bye-bye. Ooh, Rosie is a mess.